Hey everybody, this is me, Undead Viking. I want to take some time out of the day to talk to you about this game. It is called Avoid the Void. I don't have a game box, I apologize. Avoid the Void is a up to 7-player game that takes only about 15, maybe 20 minutes to play. It is played on a grid of tiles where you're going to be maneuvering your spaceships, trying to basically keep moving and keep cards in your hand. That's how you win the game. You survive longer than everybody else. You will be playing those cards and manipulating the tiles of the game in an attempt to basically doom your opponents by basically having them run out of cards or basically stranding their ship so it can't move. It is, like I said, it is a very quick game, mostly because the board that you set up starts off being pretty simple and pretty easy to maneuver about, and it is a random board setup. But very, very quickly, the paths of ease and the ability to freely move and replenish your cards in your hand each and every turn quickly dissipates due to the fact that everybody's messing with everybody else and moving ships and rotating tiles and flipping tiles and so forth, whereas very quickly, unless you've been either lucky or plotted a very good strategy or a very good tactic, you are going to run into situations where getting kicked out of the game will happen. Now, there is no player elimination, technically. I'll explain that when I show you how to play the game. So if you are worried about that, don't worry about that, because you are allowed to stay in the game and actually have a direct effect upon the game after you technically cannot win any longer. But regardless, let me show you how to play Avoid the Void, and we'll come back here and I'll tell you more about why I like it. Awesome. Alright, let's learn how to play Avoid the Void. Okay, as I explained, this is a game of spatial movement where you're basically trying to keep your ship moving. You're trying to keep cards in your hand. The way you lose is if you ever can't move your ship on your turn, or if somehow you manage to lose all of your cards one way or the other. Alright, so at the beginning of the game, you will set it up, it's a 5x5 grid. This can support up to 7 players, in which case when you have 5-5, you will put two other ships, which are here. These are really cool models too, I might add. But you would put those behind these two locations there. So you can play up to 7, and this is definitely a game where the more the merrier, because you're just kind of adding to the chaos. I have found when you have more players, the game is over quicker, mostly because you run out of space a little bit faster because there's a lot more black holes popping up, which really inhibits your movement. And also, it's one of those things where everybody's kind of at each other's throats right away. And so, obviously, if you have only 2 or 3 of the ships, I mean, there's more room to move around. You're not going to land on each other. You're not going to have to give up cards and what have you. But I'm getting a little bit beyond myself, but let me just explain how this works. So, on your turn, you are going to do 3 things. You're going to do a draw phase, and you are going to draw cards into your hand equal to the number that is on the sector that you happen to be on. Now, if the sector is 0, you won't draw any cards. If it is a negative number, which can happen, none of these sectors start off being a negative, and you do get more sector tiles than are what out there. So the game is different. I always love when they give you more of what is available, because that means then that it'll be different. The game will be different each time you play. But there are ways that you can actually alter the tiles through card play. And so this is one of the tiles that you'd put on a tile, and you see there's the -2 on there. So that would, if you had that on a 0 or a 1, you would actually go into a negative amount. Now, if you are on one of those negative numbers, you will, on the draw phase, you will discard cards. And like I said, if at any point you run out of cards, you are going to lose the game. You will do a draw phase, as I said. You will do a play cards phase. In that phase, you are forced to play cards equal to half of the number of cards that you have in your hand, rounded up. So if you have 4 cards, you have to play 2. If you have 5 cards, you have to play 3, and so on and so forth. That does mean that if you have 1 card you are probably going to lose unless you can somehow figure out a way that, like, that one card will somehow get you a card. Sometimes they'll let you draw cards and what have you. That one, because you are forced to play that one card, and as I said, if you run out of cards, you lose. You're out of the game. And then finally, you were going to do a move. When you do a move, and this is also one of the things, if you can't move, you lose. You have to move in the direction that the tile you're on has the arrows pointing. So like you can see this star one has arrows pointing in every single direction. You can go anywhere from that location. This particular tile will only let you go this way, or that way, and so on and so forth. There are tiles like this one that will have a way out, but it would leave the board. And you can't leave the board, so that would actually inhibit your ability to move. So this game is a lot about pre-planning and trying to figure out where you can move to and where's going to be a safe spot. You'll notice that there's some tiles, like, you know, here this 4 or this 2 or that 2, they don't have any way out of those locations. Luckily, you can draw some cards, and hopefully you'll have a card that'll allow you to move yourself around and change things up. But you'll just hopefully, like, you've planned ahead in that case. Now, the back of each one of these tiles is a black hole. This is basically just a 0 with no way out. If you are on one of those locations, hopefully you have a card that'll allow you to escape in some way, and then you can then move. But more or less likely, unless you have thought ahead, or if you've gotten lucky or what have you, you are going to be losing the game at that point. Now, let me just show you basically. So at the beginning of the game, each player gets 4 cards. Let me just show you some of these cards and see what we get here. Alright, so some cards are mods. This is kind of nice. So like it says here, this is a force field mod that you can see right there. Your hand, ship mods, alien card, and seat cannot be swapped. And then like it says a ship mod. And you'll just put this card in front of you, and then this is like your ship has been modified with this ability. You'll notice that it does say discard after playing, and then it says the yellow symbol. There are cards, like this one right here, that if anytime you end up playing one of these cards, you then have to discard your ship mod that you have. Now I should mention, I apologize, I forgot to mention this, at the beginning of the game, you are dealt one of these like alien race cards randomly, and they are coinciding with the color that you have. It is possible at some point in the game where you might actually swap the races with somebody else. Like if you're blue, you might end up swapping with green or whatever. In that case, you actually do swap the ship, you swap the race, you swap everything. Now you can play one of 2 ways with these. You can play with the special ability or without. Just depends on whichever you want. And as you can probably guess, the special abilities of each one of the races is just some way to break the rules in a way. So once per game during your play phase, move your ship to any sector. And so like this is a once per game ability. So what happens then, as soon as you use it, you just are going to flip it over to show that you have used the ability by using the other side. Some other abilities, like here's green, the agrarian, once per game at any time, draw 3. He has a ability to draw 3 cards if the chips are against him or whatever. The white race, Krisk, once per game at any time, make a sector into black hole or restore a black hole. So you'd flip the black hole back over. So, and I never saw a problem using the abilities. I suppose if you wanted to play a more simple game, you could not use those alien abilities, but I've yet to play the game without using those. Even when I played this with my daughter, she grasped the process pretty quickly. So on your turn, so let's just say we are white, and so on our turn we're on each one of these starting spots that has a location is a 1 that has a location pointing up. So we're going to draw a card. Let's see what we get. We get another yellow card that says, make any unoccupied sector into a black hole. That's a pretty common card, actually. And so we have 5 cards. We divide that by 2. We have 3. I have to play 3 cards, and then I get to move. So I can go, and I'm looking through here. I can teleport, move another player's ship to any sector. Your hand, so why wouldn't I play force field? I put that one down. I can't see it, but you put that in front of you. Okay, cool. I have a force field. That's 1 card. I could, change a sector to a star. That's always kind of nice. That means that you actually put the same star token all the different locations. But maybe we should hold on to that one, just in case we want to use that in the future. In case we end up in one of these places over there. So let's start messing with people right away. We can, move another player's ship to any sector. So we're gonna actually I should put that in the discard pile, because there are cards that allow you to kind of go through the discard pile and mess with things. And so make sure you have a discard pile set aside. So where's a good place to kind of mess with somebody? You could put them on a location that doesn't have a lot of options as far as them drawing cards. So we could just think maybe Orange didn't pay for lunch yesterday. You had to pay for him. So we're going to go ahead and put him there. We're just going to move him over to that location. So now he's on a 0. He's not going to get any cards on his turn. Not drawing cards always stinks in this game, because cards are basically your life force, your hit points. And so now we don't use that. So let's also then, maybe we're really upset with Orange, and we're going to, oh no, wait. I can't play that because of the fact that I don't want to play. We'd play this. Technically, this is all timing, right? We'd play this after we play this one, because technically, so let's say I played that one, and because he has 2 locations that he can go up, actually offers him some mobility. Let's go ahead and turn that into a black hole, so we can kind of mess with them just a little bit, and then now we play our ship mod. And so then we have to move. We're going to move 1 space to here. Now this is kind of a difficult spot we're in because of the fact that, we're going to want, some possibility to get, because we're going to move here and we're not going to draw any cards in that location, because we're not going to draw any cards on our next turn. So hopefully, well actually, we can move back down and into that spot right there. Now, here's kind of an interesting thing. If we had a situation, let's say green hadn't moved, for example, and we moved onto the spot where another player is. When you move onto a spot where somebody is located, whatever the number is under on that spot, we have to pay tribute by giving them cards out of our hand equal to the number that's on that spot. So if that was, we'd have to give green a card by landing on that spot. If it is a negative number that we land on, the reverse is true, obviously. They would have to pay tribute to us because they're on the negative number. A couple of addendums to that rule is that if there were multiple ships on that location, we'd have to give multiple cards to each person that was on that location. If we did not have enough cards to give away for that spot, obviously that would then make us lose the game because we run out of cards. But what we would end up doing is we'd have to decide what we gave up. So let me just give you a different option so you can kind of see. Let's say yellow and white were on that location, and green had to move on to, and there's a 3 on that spot, but they've only got 4 cards. They have to divvy up those cards in some way. They could give 2 to each person. They could give 1 to one person and 3 to the other. They couldn't give 4 to one because of the fact that there's only a 3 on that spot. But they could divvy it up however they wanted to, and as far as which cards go. But of course, then they'd run out of cards and they would lose. Now, the one thing about everybody's like, oh, player elimination. Well, player elimination does happen, but it doesn't, you're still in the game and you still get to mess with people. When you go out of the game, you get to draw one of these Void Beast cards, and when it is your turn, you just get an ability to mess with people. Move a ship to a corner sector. Swap the locations of any 2 sectors. Swap the locations of any 2 ships. Move an unoccupied make an unoccupied sector into a black hole, and so on and so forth. You are able then to mess with the game still and have an effect upon what is going on. So, if I really harp on Orange there and really take it to them to try to because of whatever perceived grudge I have over them, I might want to watch out for doing that, because once they are a Void Beast, they're probably going to spend every single chance they can to make my life difficult. So there you go. I mean, that's the entire game. You draw, you play cards, and then you move, and you keep going until either you run out of everybody else but you runs out of cards or can't move, either because they're on a black hole space and they can't escape from it, or for whatever reason. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, black holes obviously are tough because you don't get to draw any cards and there's no way to get out of that spot. But, you know, you can lose quite easily other ways as well. So, I've had a lot of fun with this one, basically because of its, like, quick rule set, quick teaching time, and plus just the kind of combative nature of the game. I enjoy games where I'm battling my wits against the other player because of the relatively simple rule set that this game has. But regardless, let me talk more about all of that when I do my conclusion. Alright, thank you very much for sitting through that. You know, the game doesn't have a lot of rules to it. Like I said, it's just those 3 phases, and there's those very basic ways that you can lose the game. It's a quick little story. I mean, this is one of those weird things where, like, you never really... I hadn't even heard of this game. I didn't even know it existed. But I happened to see that somebody was trying to trade away a rare out-of-print game that technically probably isn't the greatest game in the whole wide world, but I was really interested in owning it. It's something that had been, like, on my wish list for a long time, ever since I really got into the hobby. And so I negotiated a deal with the gentleman that had the game, and I got it, and that's awesome. I finally have this game. But then we just kind of started up a friendship, and we discussed and we talked about this and that and the other thing, and then it came out that I do these videos and what have you, and this gentleman had a game that that he was going to be publishing, and that is his name's Jason, and that this is his project. So it was kind of one of those cool things where, like, I hadn't even heard of it, but because of just this one rare happenstance of people running into each other on the web, if you will, I was made aware of it, and I'm really glad I was, because I've had a lot of fun playing this game. As I said, and if you've watched these videos before that I do, my gaming group is a very conflict-driven gaming group. We really enjoy games that put us at each other's throats and going butting heads, and it's one of those things where we enjoy that aspect, and you know, not to say that we don't enjoy other games as well. I mean, and we can play a soulless cube-pushing Euro that's an economic model or whatever, and we can have a lot of fun with that. You know, but we are based in, like, that old school gaming mentality where victory can only be claimed by crawling over the corpses of your enemies, that sort of thing. So, you know, what I like about this game, as I said, it's a quick rule set. You know, this is definitely a game that I could throw into the game bag that I take to work, that I could then play over a lunch period, because of the fact that it is very easy to teach. It can satisfy a large number of people, and also, like, it doesn't, you know, overlast itself. There's too many games out there that are kind of like conflict driven, that are very antagonistic like this, that become just kind of like punching each other in the face over and over again, but it lasts way too long. The 15 minutes, and this game, with fewer numbers, as I said, the game can last longer. I mean, I've had games last up to a half an hour when then it becomes like there's more open space and everybody can kind of just, you know, move around and stay out of each other's way. The game can last up to 30 minutes, but for the most part, like I said, I played this game mostly with 4 or 5 people, and you know, that 15 to 20 minute area is pretty spot on. Now, as I said, like, as I was talking in the introduction, also as I showed you how to play, this is a game of tactics. I mean, basically trying to put yourself into the best possible situation, but you can kind of throw a lot of those out the window, because no matter how well or how perfectly you think you've placed yourself on the map, or on the sectors or what have you, somebody, by the time it gets around to you, the map has changed so much that wherever you thought was like your primo spot to be in, where you could then prevent yourself from losing, is most likely changed by the time it gets around back to you. And now whatever plan or strategy or whatever that you've had, you're going to throw it out the window and you're going to start anew. And I don't mind that. I kind of like games where I can't just say, oh, I know what I'm going to do for the next 3 turns. You know, well, fine. I mean, I can see the appeal of that, but this isn't that game. There's lots of games out there that are long, and you know, the long con, if you will, you know, that they have, the long view type of situation, and that's cool and all, but this isn't that type of game. Obviously, this is more of a filler type. You know, I mean, the theme, you know, it's space, and I like it. I think these spaceships are freaking awesome. I mean, I don't know if these are the ones that are going to be found in the retail version of this game once it is published. But if not, I don't know where these came from, but these would be excellent in almost any space type game. It's just, the theme probably could have been almost anything. I mean, you could have made pirate ships. You could have made garbage trucks. Explorers or what have you. But I like space-themed games. I like the idea of going through the different sectors of space, and this one fits well. It kind of provokes that evocative feel of traveling from sector to different sector of space. Navigating through hazardous areas and what have you. And so it works, and it works well. So, if you're looking for a quick little game that you're going to have a lot of fun, where hopefully you won't have too much bad blood towards one another after the game is over, that holds over to the game that is afterwards. I mean, this is a game that I haven't done yet, but I think this would be a great game to play like after a game of Thrones, after I played like a 5-hour epic game, get everybody back at the table and go through this. And so if you really got hammered by somebody during like a long epic game like that, then you could all like gang up on the person that won and just destroy them in like the first 5 minutes, which would be ultimately very satisfying in my mind. But like if you're looking for a quick little combative filler, I don't think you're going to go wrong with Avoid the Void. Yes, there is player elimination, but not really player elimination in Avoid the Void. Even if you get knocked out, you can have your just revenge. Like my buddy Craig always has that mentality whereas like if you knock him out, he's like, well, you may have beaten me, but I'm going to make sure you don't win as well. And so in a way, that's kind of a victory, right? So, alright, cool. If you have any questions about Avoid the Void, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I'm going to tell you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye.